Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Amma ba'd, fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. All praises and adorations are due to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I am absolutely thrilled and honored to be your master of ceremony for this exceptional occasion, where we unite under the radiant theme, spreading divine message on campus, the step-by-step approach. And as we embark on this enlightening journey today, it is my privilege to introduce to you a lineup of remarkable personalities who will be gracing our event with their wisdom and our presence. Our chairman for the day, who is a distinguished barrister and a national executive member of Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat of Nigeria, embodies the essence of leadership and commitment to the divine message. His unwavering dedication has been instrumental in shaping the path of our association and our community at large. And joining us in this auspicious gathering are 4 past AMSA national presidents, the torch bearers who have paved the way for our association's growth and have left an indelible mark on its progress. Their presence serves as a testament to the enduring spirit of unity and the relentless pursuit of the divine message that we stand for. And now, my beloved audience, brace yourself for a truly special guest, none other than the president of AMSA UK, a beacon of inspiration for us all. So, as the heart and soul of this event, and respected audience, you hold the power to make this gathering truly remarkable.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Al-Muballigh Muhammad Waiza coincide. Please kindly say salam to the house.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khair. Then we have in our midst again one of our presidents that we have ever had as an AMSA Nigeria right from time, who will be sharing with us the experience they had so far while they were still the presidents of AMSA Nigeria, how they spread the divine message on campus during the time the challenges faced and the likes. So we'll be having the respected Dr. Tawfiq Sani Sahib to say salam to the house.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khair. We also be having one of us, a national ESCO, the Ta'lim Secretary, AMSA Nigeria, who will be the facilitator for the panel discussion in person of respected brother Abdul Rafiq Abdul Salam. Please kindly say salam to the house, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So without wasting much time again, then we'll move on to the next program of events, which is the opening recitation by respected Hafiz Awad Fawad Ahmad Sahib. Bismillah. Al-Hafiz.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وقرآنا فرقناه لتقرأه على الناس على مكث ونزلناه تنزيلا قل آمنوا به أو لا تؤمنوا إن الذين أوتوا العلم من قبله إذا يتلى عليهم يخرون للأذقان سجدا ويقولون سبحان ربنا إن كان وعد ربنا لمفعولا ويخرون للأذقان يبكون ويزيدهم خشوعا قل ادعوا الله أو ادعوا الرحمن أيما تدعوا فله الأسماء الحسنى ولا تجهر بصلاتك ولا تخافت بها وابتغ بين ذلك سبيلا وقل الحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ ولدا ولم يكن له شريك في الملك ولم يكن له ولي من الذل وكبره تكبيرا اللهم ارحمنا بالقرآن. Translation. In the name of Allah, the Gracious, the Merciful. And the Quran we have revealed in pieces, that thou may read it to mankind at intervals, and we have sent it down piecemeal. Say, whether you believe therein or believe not, those to whom knowledge has been given before it do fall down, prostrate on their faces when it is recited to them, and say, Holy is our Lord, surely the promise of our Lord is bound to be fulfilled. They fall down on their faces, weeping, and it increases humility in them. Say, call upon Allah or call upon Rahman. By whichever name you call him, his are the most beautiful names. And utter not thy prayer aloud, nor utter it too low, but seek a way between. And say, all praise belongs to Allah, who has taken unto himself no son, and who has no partner in his kingdom, nor has he anyone to help him on account of weakness, and extol his glory with all glorifications. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May I invite, thank you, Hafiz Awadi Fawad Ahmad Sahib. May I invite Hafiz Sulaiman Abdul Qudus for the chanting of the Qasida.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa
Sulaiman
barakatuh.
Abdul Qudus. Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh.
وعلى عبده المسيح الموعود آمين. بشرى لكم يا معشر الإخوان طوبى لكم يا مجمع الخلان بشرى لكم يا معشر الإخوان طوبى لكم يا مجمع الخلان ظهرت بروق عناية الحنان وبدا الصراط لمن له العينان بشرى لكم يا معشر الإخوان طوبى لكم يا مجمع الخلان النيران بهذه البلدان خسفا بإذن الله في رمضان بشرى لكم يا معشر الإخوان طوبى لكم يا مجمع الخلان وبشارة من سيد خير الورى ظهرت مطهرة من الأدران بشرى لكم يا معشر الإخوان طوبى لكم يا مجمع الخلان ولها كصاعقة السماء مباهاة ولها كصاعقة السماء مهابة وتشذر كتشذر الفرسان بشرى لكم يا معشر الإخوان طوبى لكم يا مجمع الخلان اليوم يوم فيه حصحص صدقنا قد مات كل مكذب فتان بشرى لكم يا معشر الإخوان طوبى لكم يا مجمع الخلان اليوم يبكي كل أهل بصيرة متذكرا لمراحم الرحمن بشرى لكم يا معشر الإخوان طوبى لكم يا مجمع الخلان بشرى لكم يا معشر الإخوان طوبى لكم يا مجمع الخلان طوبى لكم يا مجمع الخلان. Translation. Good news for you, O people of the Muslim Brotherhood. Blessed are you, O Al-Khullan community. And lightnings of tender care appeared, and the path appeared to the one who has the eyes. In these countries, God willing, there will be a complete eclipse in Ramadan. And the glad tidings of the best of leaders appeared purified from all impurities. And it is like the thunderbolt of the sky or bracelet thrown. There is a lot of horror. And today is a day when our sincerity will be judged, as every denier of an atheist has died. And today, all the people of insight are possessing the mercies of the most merciful and confirming the light of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and praising the talents of the giver of all good and the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. اللهم صل وسلم عليه إلى يوم الدين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. جزاكم الله خيرا أحسن الجزاء. الحافظ عبد القدوس سليمان. Yeah, next is opening dua. Thank you. Please join me in opening prayer. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. وأبوه بذنبي فاغفر لي ربنا افرغ علينا آمين ثم آمين. Next, I will be inviting the Ahmadi Muslim Student Association President, Brother Alawode Tajib, to give us the welcome address. Bismillah, Brother Alawode Tajib.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله. Respected Barrister Sahab, the National Tabligh Secretary for Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat Nigeria, esteemed guest on the call, I say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Almighty Allah, who has granted us the grace to be alive and well at this current time. And we pray to him that this program shall be a successful one. On behalf of the President of AMSA Nigeria and all members of AMSA Nigeria, the President asked me to extend his condolences to our dear brothers and mentors, Dr. Taufik Sani Saab and Brother Abdulaziz Alaran Saab, who both lost their wives in recent time. And he prayed that may Almighty Allah take care of everything they left behind and make their abode Al-Janatul Firdaus.
Amen.
The subject of Tabligh in our campus has been an issue over time. We have seen drops in how we execute these tasks, and we have seen that the activities of our members are being streamlined to what the national specified, and that's one of the reasons why this program is holding, to bring back the culture, the understanding of how we should go about our Tabligh on campus in peaceful, efficient, and effective ways. And we trust in the capacities of the people who will be making justice to this topic. So I welcome and appreciate the presence of our grandpa and fathers, as we call them in AMSA Nigeria, starting from Mohalim Muhammad Waiz Akoin Sab, Dr. Taufik Sani Sab, Brother Abdulaziz Alaran in absentia, our recent presidents, Al-Hafiz Abdurrahman Alaka and Hafiz Abdurrahman Alaka Sab. We welcome you all, and we hope to learn a lot from you as usual. Lastly, welcome the presence of the AMSA UK. I hope he will join back. The president of Ahmadiyya Muslim Students Association United Kingdom, Brother Takrim Ahmad Sab. And I believe that when he joins back, the moderator will do the justice of introducing him to the house. We hope and pray to Almighty Allah to make this a successful deliberation. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakum Allah khairan hasana jaza. We move next to the opening address by the chairman. Okay. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خير الأنام سيدنا وسندنا وشفيعنا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه وعلى كل من تبعهم بالإحسان ومن نهج منهجهم السديد إلى يوم تبعثون وبعد. أيها المستمعين الكرام السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Once again, respected members of Ahmadiyya Muslim Students Association Nigeria, and those of us joining from the diaspora, I want to specifically say that I'm happy that this program is holding today. One fundamental thing that I would love to mention is foremost, understanding the need for Tabligh, especially whether in the campus or outside the campus. Need for Tabligh amongst our community members in our society. The need for Tabligh is tied to the need for Imam. If we do not particularly appreciate why we need Imam at this age, then the need for Tabligh may be deluding us. As Mr. Ghulam Ahmad Al-Qadiani was appointed by Allah, the Almighty, as the promised Messiah to revive Islam and unite mankind under the flag of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In an era when materialism was on the rise, Islam was facing challenges from all sides, and the Muslims had also deviated from the true teachings of Islam. Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad entered the spiritual battlefield as a true defender of Islam. He emphasized the need for humanity to adhere to the true Islamic teachings of upholding the rights of God Almighty and His creation. As I said, the Mahdi alayhi salam said, in this age, the world is brimming with disagreements. The Jews say one thing, whereas the Christians profess another. And aside from this, the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is marred in internal conflicts. Meanwhile, the idolaters present their opinions against all of the others. So many new religions and beliefs have arisen that everyone seems to be practicing their own unique brand of religion. Therefore, in conformity with the established practice of Allah, it was essential that a hakam, arbiter, judge should have come to settle all of these disputes. Hence, that very hakam was bestowed the title, the promised Messiah, and the blessed Mahdi, meaning that he was deemed to be the Messiah on account of resolving external disputes, and he was proclaimed the destined Mahdi on account of settling internal conflicts. This is contained in the Philosophy of Divine Revelation, Haqiqatul Wahy, page 57. The Prophet ﷺ further said, I saw that I was standing upon a pulpit in the city of London and was setting forth the truth of Islam in English language in very well-reasoned address. Therefore, I caught several birds who were sitting upon small trees and were of color, and their bodies resembled the bodies of partridges. I interpreted this to mean that though I will not be able to travel to that country, my writings will reach those people, and many righteous English people will be attracted to the truth. This is contained in Izala Awham, Ruhani Khazai, volume 3, page 377. If you ponder over this dream as expressed by the Prophet ﷺ, and those of us who were able to link up with the UK Jalsa just last week will understand that the fulfillment of this dream is being repeated almost every time. Now, the Prophet ﷺ is standing there in London, speaking English to the entire universe. In another revelation, vouchsafed to the Prophet ﷺ, he was told that I shall give you a large community of educated persons. And I think this is what more specifically caught my interest. Without presuming what speakers who have been given the opportunity to address this issue, without presuming their addresses, I would want to especially say that you are among the large community of educated people that have been promised to the Prophet ﷺ. And for this reason, we should understand that this is not just about education. It is not everybody would be given. A whole lot of people are educated, and yet they do not possess the light. If you have been given the light and Allah has bestowed you with education, then it is for a purpose. That purpose is to become one of the armies of the Prophet ﷺ. It is not just knowledge. It is also embedded in morality. So we must be seen as upright. In this age, when everybody is just jostling after materialism, don't forget, this is the age where the Prophet has been raised. And to create a unique community that will be envied by all, community of people who will not be crazy about materialism. Today, we can't say, unfortunately, that we have not found some of our members who have become so engrossed in social vices, especially in search for materialism. We have seen quite a number of people, members of our community, members of AMSA, joining the notorious gangs of Yahoo, the notorious gang of looking for quick money. This is very, very painful, very unfortunate. And this is not the dream of the promised Messiah, alayhi salatu wasalam. So for this reason, I want to also beseech all of us to concern ourselves with uprightness and morality, because this is the fundamental thing the Prophet ﷺ himself expressed. And this is what won the hearts of so many people around him, that he was given the title as Siddiqul Amin. He was seen as the truthful and upright individual. And those from whom he had lived among them were able to say, no, you can always trust this individual. Can your friends around you, can your colleagues, can your classmates say the same thing about you? Can they say you are upright? Can they say you are sincere? If you as a student keep chasing after girls like every other person is doing, keep chasing after materialism, joining cultists around the campus, can you now raise your shoulder above others and say, I am different? No, you can't be different. You are just the same thing with them. And the only reason how you can be different is not to do what they are doing. And people start wondering, how is he doing it that he's not even joining us to do what we are doing? And I think on this note, like I said, without preempting what other speakers have in stock for us, then I would say you have been charged as one of the armies of the Promised Islam to convey this message to the corners of the world. So, was a revelation thus shaped to the Promised Islam a very long time ago. Thank you for attending this program, and I wish more and more persons will still join in to participate in this meeting. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Yes, next I will be inviting, yes, the lecturer preaching on campus, and this is going to be taken by Mukarram Muhammad Al-Wa'is Akboyin Sahib. Mukarram, falyatafaddal.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم من همزه ولمزه ونفسه بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم ونستهديه ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ به من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا أما بعد إخوة الإيمان أحييكم بتحية الإسلام قائلا السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Respected National Tabligh Secretary Sahib, Barrister Muhammad Bashir Badr, respected Dr. Sahib, Dr. Taufik Sani, I also extend my greetings to brothers from the AMSA fraternity. Of course, I am still an AMSA fellow. I have just completed my master's degree. I submitted my binded project just yesterday, and I am aiming to proceed to the PhD level anytime soon, inshallah. So I'm still very much within the fraternity.
Mashallah, barakallah. Alhamdulillah.
So I say assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu to you all. I have been asked to on the topic spreading divine message on campus, the step-by-step approach. To start with, we are alive today witnessing this auspicious occasion featuring this year's edition of the AMSA Nigeria Tabligh Talk, albeit virtually, due to the special grace of Allah, the sustainer of the ends of the heavens and the heart, and the fullness thereof. We, however, beseech him to continuously place us under his gentle care and benign protection to fulfill all righteousness. I will read through what I have here prepared. To start with, there are quite a number of steps to take while spreading divine message on campus, and we shall be examining some in the course of this discourse. The very first step to take before going about doing tabligh on campus is 1, intellectual development and scholarship. The Arabs would say, فَاقِدُ شَيْءٍ لَا يُعْطِيهِ. One who is bereft of a particular thing cannot give it to others. As it is, every AMSA member willing to live up to expectations should brazen up to this challenge by first empowering himself with knowledge cutting across the secular and religious horizons. Such a one stands a chance to combat the intellectual challenges and even shenanigans expectedly thrown at the Jama'ah on our campuses in the form of allegations, bottlenecks, or intimidations by some lecturers or other members of staff, invectives and jibes all by the detractors of the Jama'ah. It is actually a very common feature on our campuses that the Jamaat is intellectually attacked in some quarters, while in some other quarters, there are intimidations or even threat by lecturers. I have personally witnessed an incident where a member of AMSA had issue signing his course form because of his name. We can actually confirm from Brother Muzaffar Ajimati Sahib is presently pursuing his postgraduate program in the UK. He went to his level advisor to sign his course form. And when he was just in 100 level, freshly admitted into the University of Ilorin, mathematics department. You would wonder what is the correlation of mathematics with the ideological differences. So when the lecturer saw his name, Muzaffar, he asked him, "Are you a Qadiani?" And the brother was confused because he was not used to that derogatory appellation given to the Jama'ah, Qadianis. So he was taken aback. What could he mean? And upon a second thought, he said, "Yes, I am an Ahmadi." And he said, "Okay, you can go away with your course form. I don't want to see you anytime soon." And he sent him away. He took the intervention of our respected barrister, Owade Saib, and some other people before the lecturer could sign his course form. And the cases are abounding. There are also intellectual assaults against the Jama'ah, especially with respect to registering AMSA on campus, edicts of Kufru being passed against the Jama'ah. And in fact, there are even shenanigans thrown at the Jama'ah. There was a time so many members of the community who are students found it extremely difficult to identify with their religious ideology on campus. Of course, the terrain is changing. You may be physically attacked. We have had so many instances in the past. Alhamdulillah, the terrain is gradually changing, in progress. Invectives and jibes, all by the detractors of the Jama'ah, most especially by the Salafi, Wahhabi, Al-Sunnah, and MSS brothers. You see, I have always maintained, and I will continue to do such, that there is a difference between a Salafi and a Wahhabi. Of course, they may want to confuse you into thinking a Wahhabi is a Salafi. When you look at the word Salafiyun etymologically, it refers to somebody aiming at following the footsteps of the pious predecessors of the companions, the Tabi'un, the Taba Tabi'un, the first three generations of Muslim, the golden generations of Islam. That is the etymological connotation of the word Salafi. Now, linguistically, it could also mean somebody who is deemed to have been honored with a rank of degree as compared to the past predecessors. So while it could mean somebody following their footsteps etymologically, linguistically, it could also mean somebody who has the rank, the same rank that these people would have. Allah is our witness that so many of these people claiming to be Salafis are bereft of the remotest moral rectitude. They talk indecorously about fellow Muslims, they disparage holy personages in Islam on account of ideological differences. So such people cannot be deemed to have attained this rank. So they are at best Wahhabis. There is a sect in Islam called Wahhabiyah. Sorry for the digression. Wahhabiyah is actually that famous Salafi sect that parades itself as being the Salafis. It is a revivalist sect of the Ahlul Sunnah group that emanated from Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab, and hence the name Wahhabiyah. Ahlul Sunnah is the broad name of all Muslims belonging to the Sunni class as against the Shia class. And MSSN, we all know what that connotes. Unfortunately, MSSN in virtually all higher institutions of learning have been hijacked by these Salafi or Wahhabiyah or Ahlul Sunnah brothers. A discerning and knowledgeable member of AMSA, through the grace of Allah, would daze the detractors with sound polemics when encountered. If every AMSA member have empowered himself with the requisite Islamic knowledge and scholarship, it will be very easy to take on the detractors of the Jama'ah intellectually, exchanging polemics, respond to allegations scholastically and convincingly too, when challenged, and defeat bottlenecks and intimidations and threats when bullied. The fact that all these are empirically unachievable without sound knowledge and sagacity cannot be overemphasized. If you are not sagacious, if you are not discerning, the slightest intimidation from a lecturer, the slightest threat from a fellow student on account of your ideological difference will throw you off balance. And if care is not taken, you may be jeopardizing your studentship. So it is expected that every AMSA member should have at least a basic understanding of the nitty-gritty of Islam, coupled to a high level of intellectual prowess with respect to secular education. In progress, it is very important that we should, as a matter of urgency, empower our minds as youth of the Jama'ah with sound understanding of the Arabic language. This should not be the business of missionaries and people studying Arabic alone. One very good thing that you can never take away from these Salafi brothers is their quest for Islamic knowledge, especially the Arabic language. I want to make a strong appeal that our members should take a cue from them on this matter alone. We should find time for Arabic learning. It is very, very important, even if it is just the basics. A sound understanding of Arabic language will actually nourish your Islam. May Allah give us the opportunity to achieve this in no distant time. The fact that all these are empirically unachievable without sound knowledge and sagacity cannot be overemphasized. The rhetorical question contained in the Holy Quran, chapter 39, verse 10, Surah Zumar, chapter 39, verse 10, wherein Allah says, "Aliyastawi alladhina ya'lamun walladhina la ya'lamun, innama yatadhakkaru ulul albab," perfectly drives home this important step to a successful tabligh on campus. Allah says, are those who know and those who do not know alike? That's the rhetorical question. Allah is evidently not expecting an answer from anybody. It is meant to be a rhetorical question that which needs no answer? Are those who know are the knowledgeable ones and the ignorant alike? Certainly, only the men of understanding are discerning. In Ahmadiyya terms, Tabligh can never be effectively done without ta'lim, especially on our campuses being institutes of higher learning. Thank goodness the Jama'ah is planning to have an online Arabic course. As soon as that is kickstarted, we should all avail ourselves of that opportunity. Let us learn Arabic, just as the Salafi brothers would learn Arabic, so that we may be able to compete against their intellectual attacks scholastically from a background of sound knowledge. Hence, we will not be bamboozled. The mindset prevalent amongst the non-Ahmadi Muslims, especially the detractors, is the fact that in Ahmadiyya in Nigeria, we have only 3 or 4 people who have a very solid background in Arabic. They will mention the like of Professor Majid Azam Bello, Dr. Said Timei, and some other people. If you are familiar with these famous and obnoxious detractor of the Jama'ah, Ali Said Matayo, he would always refer to these people I have mentioned. He has even dubbed them mouthpieces of Ahmadiyya in Nigeria. So let us change this narrative. And that is our sad reality, unfortunately. Let us change this narrative. We can always achieve it. It is achievable. May Allah facilitate the kickstarting of the Arabic course anytime soon. May Allah forgive those of us who have been saddled with the responsibility but have not lived up to expectations because of so many other preoccupations. We are working on it assiduously, and very soon it will see the light of the day by Allah's grace and mercy. Number 2, the second step to take for a successful Tabligh on campus is impeccable moral rectitude. Barrister Saib has underscored the importance of uprightness and morality. In progress, Allah describes the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as the undisputable possessor of perfect moral excellences. Quran chapter 67, verse 5, Surah Al-Qalam. Allah says, "Wa innaka la'ala khuluqin azim." And hence, he was first a perfect exemplar. Of course, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam preached to non-Muslims. However, he did most of the preaching through his sublime moral character, his profound moral rectitude, his unmatched personal excellencies, and then a bearer of glad tidings, and thereafter a warner. Allah says in Quran chapter 48, verse 9. Please, it is not 49. It should actually be a typographical error. 48, for those of you following this, the one being shared on the screen, you should change it to 48 and not 49. The verse is contained in Surah Al-Fatih, Quran chapter 48, verse 9, and not chapter 49. That is Surah Al-Hujurat. Allah the Almighty says, "Inna arsalnaka shahidan wa mubashiran wa nadhira." Certainly, we have sent you as an exemplar, a bearer of glad tidings, and also a warner. This bespeaks of the fact that a successful Tabligh is never bereft of good moral rectitude and exemplary conduct. As such, an AMSA member willing to spread divine message on campus successfully must be a repository of moral virtues and also a receptacle of good conduct. You can never be listened to. You stand no chance to gain acceptability from people if you are bereft of moral qualities. The fact is, being a possessor of sublime moral characters has a magnetic effect on the onlookers. It endears one to them and even inspires trust on the part of the bearer thereof. Hence, it will always remain an indispensable tool for Tabligh in all settings, the campuses inclusive. The campuses are actually intellectual societies where it is expected that decorum and sanity should reign supreme. Hence, one is expected to be of extreme moral qualities, such as would force people to respect you and also listen to whatever you have to say. The present Khalifa, Hadrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, Ayadahullah Ta'ala, Biruhil Qudus, has repeatedly emphasized the need for all Ahmadi Muslims to exhibit good moral qualities in our dealings with people, in our immediate environment and beyond, in his sermons. All AMSA members are expected to be of exemplary moral conduct on campuses so as to enable them to be able to do Tabligh. We should always bear in mind that Tabligh is totally impossible in the absence of Tarbiyah. That is talking in Ahmadiyya terms. Without Tarbiyah, there can never be Tabligh. If you are bereft of moral rectitude, of sublime moral characters, nobody will listen to you. As such, we must first build our ta'lim, then uphold our Tarbiyah, and then do successful Tabligh. Number 3, comely presentation and pleasant persuasion. The general principle stated in the Holy Quran, chapter 16, verse 126, that is Surah An-Nahl, to invite to the way of Allah with wisdom and comely exhortation is as well applicable in this case. Allah says, Udu'u ila sabili rabbika bil hikmati wal maw'idatil hasana wajadilhum billati hiya ahsan. Inna rabbaka a'lamu biman dalla an sabilihi wa huwa a'lamu bil muhtadin. This is because the campuses are institutes of learning wherein mutual respect and unity in diversity are expected to be invaluable. Hence, it would be wrong to be abusive, disparaging, derisive, or even scornful with your expressions while exchanging polemics or even while spreading divine message on such a setting as the campus. Allah the Almighty says, call to the way of your Lord with wisdom and good exhortation, and argue with them in the best manner. Certainly, please change that to manner, not man. Certainly, that was a careless omission from this humble one. Certainly, your Lord knows who have gone astray away from his path, and those who are rightly guided. This verse of the Holy Quran is a general principle, and as such, it must be adhered to in the course of a successful Tabligh in every setting, especially on our campuses. Empirically, putting this into practice, every willing AMSA member is expected to write articles on topical issues with persuasive and comely expression, starting with general issues before the controversial ones for the sake of acceptability. You do not go about starting your writings with the natural death of Prophet Isa. You have actually sold yourself out. They would most likely conclude, oh, this is an Ahmadi. You can start with topical issues. Okay, the concept of jihad, the true Islamic position, or even more elaborate issues like the Islamic ruling on Ahkamul Hudud, the Islamic punitive measures. In the recent years, unfortunately, we have had cases of lynching and other forms of brutal killing, even on our campuses. The one that readily comes to mind is that of the unfortunate girl, Deborah Samuel, who was lynched by her colleagues for allegedly insulting the Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam on a departmental platform. So these are issues you can start with. This will not sell you out completely as an Ahmadi. You may be seen as a liberal Muslim, but if your language is persuasive enough, they will be forced to align with the opposition and also be on the lookout for subsequent editions of your writing. You can look for a conspicuous spot in the school, probably a place close to a popular vendor, look for a pole or even a very big tree, write articles and paste, or even on your faculty board, if that is allowed, and paste same on conspicuous spots on campuses or as allowed. Some schools might have regulations against that. Do not go about breaking those laws in the name of doing tabligh. You would be wrong. Write rejoinders to written allegations against the Jama'ah if there are written allegations against the Jama'ah that have emanated from your campus or even from campuses close to your institution. Take the pains to read through the allegations carefully and banking upon the literatures of the Jama'ah and the sources of Islamic scholarship and jurisprudence, respond to those allegations. If you do not have the intellectual wherewithal to do that, you can always seek for assistance externally from people who are knowledgeable within the Jama'ah to get that done. Do not leave an allegation flying about in your domain without responding adequately to it or getting it responded to in no distant time. Respond scholastically to allegations against the Jama'ah. If they are verbal allegations, you can meet them for friendly discussions. Unfortunately, so many of our Salafi brothers can never hold friendly discussions. So it will be nice to avoid such ones. They are known to be very violent in their dispositions. So they will not even welcome a discussion, not talk of a friendly one with you, if you have been identified by them as an Ahmadi. Hold friendly discussions on matters of ideological differences, the death of Prophet Isa, the existence of jinn, and so many other issues, Khatmun Nubuwa and the likes. This too can be escalated if the intellectual challenge posed by the discussant is relatively higher as compared to the scholarship garnered by the AMSA member in question. You can also distribute pamphlets, leaflets, and even Jamaat literatures can be taken from our libraries, though with proper permission from the appropriate authorities, for some clear-headed, underline the word clear-headed, for some clear-headed non-Ahmadi Muslim brothers to read for clarity and then returned as and when due to the libraries. If you have libraries in your Jama'ah, probably you are schooling in Iloni, in the University of Iloni, there is actually a university at the Tanke Mosque. We are schooling in UI. We have a library at our Central Mosque on Oshaba Street at Okeado. We have so many libraries across our mosques in the country. So you can actually take books from those libraries with proper permission and give to non-Ahmadi friends who may be clear-headed enough to read through the contents of the books, and have a first-hand information about the doctrines of the Jama'ah as against the lies, concocted lies being peddled around by anti-Ahmadiyya agents. This can actually be done too. In progress, public lectures can be organized at unit or state levels. AMSA across the country have, let me say, relented somewhat in this regard. We do not have public lectures like it used to be in the no distant past. I want the Tabligh department of AMSA to look inwards and organize. I remember I used to have invites from our units in the no distant past, especially in the southwestern part of the country, from Oyo, the Federal College of Education Special, Akimani, to Oru Ijebu, to Ikperurema, and all other parts of the southwestern part of the country in the past. But I think that has stopped significantly. I'm not talking about APW lectures, public lectures, very close to strategic place, very close to classes, where we can actually take on these issues headlong. Around the campuses, depending on the possibility. I understand some institutions of learning in the country, because of issues of altercation that sadly degenerated into full-blown crisis, have regulations against stating public lectures or even religious activities anywhere near the campuses. In such institutions, we can always use neutral venues. Inviting some unbiased non-Ahmadi brothers to Jamaat programs, both local and national levels, is also a very formidable way of spreading the divine message on our campuses. Once I had the opportunity to invite two colleagues of mine from the Department of Arabic Language from the University of Illinois to our Jalsa. Alhamdulillah, one of them came, and he was very pleased with the program. In fact, there and then, he became converted to a very affectionate friend of the Jama'ah. He was even privileged to meet our revered Dr. Saib, and he was so happy to the extent that he had a shot with him, and he was taking it around, telling them, "Oh, I have met this genius eventually." So you can actually invite people who are friendly, who are unbiased to our programs. Siratul Nabi, Jalsa, Yawm al-Khilafa, Khilafat Day, Masih Maud Day, and all other functions within the Jama'ah, or even national functions, and what have you. They will actually appreciate, if they are unbiased, they will naturally appreciate the beauties embedded in the programs of the Jama'ah. Number 4, and that is actually the very last one in this regard, becoming a service provider on campus with the sole intention of doing tabligh and also attain some degree of financial independence. Tabligh is nourished with quality interactions with people. You can only do tabligh successfully in this heterogeneous society through a varying number of interactions. Becoming a service provider on campus affords you the opportunity to get wider interactions with and this can serve as a very, that is the true teachings of Islam, Islam al-Ahmadiyya. Coupled to this is the fact that quality tabligh needs funding. The Christians will say that money is the vehicle of gospel. They say, "Owo ni keke inherere." You cannot do Tabligh successfully without funding. If you will be writing articles, you need some money to print. If you are going to respond to intellectual assaults against the Jama'ah, you need data. So you may not be buoyant, and you may not want to dip your hands into your pocket money, which is usually not sufficient for your runnings in school. So it is always good to look inward as an AMSA member and think of a way of providing a needed service on campus that will, one, fetch you quality interactions with people and also some degree of financial independence. Becoming small-scale business owners. Yeah, coupled to this is the fact that quality Tabligh needs funding. Becoming small-scale business owners, photocopying, printing, binding, selling small chops, baking, selling wares, and what have you. You see, another thing that one will be forced to appreciate in these Salafi brothers is the fact that they are not ashamed of taking up menial jobs on campuses. Very recently, I have come to realize that they are not doing it for the fun of it. They are actually doing it so that they could spread their tentacles on the campuses. They know they will have access to quality interactions with people. So they strike up conversations and they invite them to their programs. So we should also take, this should be our own initiative. Unfortunately, it has been hijacked by them. The good thing is we can always reposition ourselves to lay claim to this. Let us look for places on campus, on our campuses, where we can actually start something meaningful that will require us to have quality interaction. You may decide to have a laundry outfit. Okay, you buy a small washing device and 2 or 3 pressing irons. So I am here for your laundry. And when they bring their wares, you give them leaflets. You strike up conversations. So these are things these people do. And before you know it, you see so many thick beards on campus and so many stunted trousers. Ask actually for that description. That is actually the best description I can give to drive home this point. They are spreading their tentacles seamlessly on campus. And by Allah's grace and mercy, we will also achieve success if this is emulated. Selling wares and what you have, especially for the ladies, I can see some ladies here, will give AMSA members some level of financial prowess. Hence, they will have the grace of funding some Tabligh activities internally and independently. So the icing on the cake is that availing oneself of this opportunity comes with the reward of jihad in Islam. The Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is reported to have said, earning money in a lawful manner is a form of jihad. Al-kasbu fil halali jihadun. That is, earning money in a lawful manner is a form of jihad. All these businesses outlined above, photocopying, laminating, binding, selling small chops, baking, and what have you, are halal ventures. So when you indulge in any of these businesses, you are going to be rewarded, coupled to the fact that you attain some level of financial independence, and you also be able to avail yourself of those quality interactions to do Tabligh. Another important thing to be borne in mind is the fact that so many of our brothers are suffering from inferiority complex, to be precise. They believe, oh, I may not be able to withstand this intellectual acumen, so let me just shy away and even pretend as if I am not an Ahmadi. Even when being accosted, some people deny. I have had a brother who confessed to me. He wanted to be sure he was not in danger. He said he had repeatedly denied he's been an Ahmadi because of the fact that he feared he would not be able to counter the intellectual assault thrown at him by the MSSN brothers. So I told him, look, you are only being skeptical. You pass through at fall. You are up and doing. So you should be able to say something at least. It may not be very scholastic, but at least they will know, okay. And henceforth, he started taking them headlong and he will bring them to me. He was in the faculty, in the same faculty of arts. So whenever there was an intellectual attack beyond his intellectual acumen, he would always bring them to me. And by Allah's grace, we would always be able to overcome the intellectual attack, such that at a point in time, I became so popular in their department that even people from their department got to know that I am an Ahmadi missionary, and they will address me, oh, missionary Ahmadi today. So this is a call to wake from our slumber. I am not telling you that you should be a Tabligh warrior at the expense of your core assignment at school. You are there to study and excel and make the Jama'ah and your parents proud. However, you should not, on account of that, neglect Tabligh completely. Neither should you cling completely to Tabligh and neglect your studies. There should be a balance. So you should play smart too. Some lecturers can be very devilish. Some can be very inimical to your progress academically upon their discovery that you are a member of the Jama'ah. So you should be very smart too. The problem in Messiah Islam, Islam is in one of his Arabic couplets, he says, Ana laisu la akhshal hamira wa sawlahu. I am a lion. I do not fear the donkey and the empty brain thereof. All Ahmadis must be lion-like with respect to Tabligh. You should entertain no fear when there is nothing to be feared. Of course, when there is nothing, when there is something to be feared, when your academic career is at stake, you should always play smart and avoid running into encounters with lecturers who are sworn enemies of the Jama'ah. I have one in the department. Deliberately, I would eschew his courses. And by Allah's grace and mercy, he is just a fresh doctor. So he does not take so many important courses. They give him only elective courses to take. So deliberately, I will, but even when I'm forced to do his courses, if they are required or compulsory courses, I'll make sure I read extra, I'll study extra hours so as to be able to excel. Alhamdulillah, even if he would give me a C or a mischievous B, like something 69, 68, I got mischievous B from him. We call it mischievous B's or wicked B's. When you got a 69B, it's always mischievous on the part of the lecturer. 69 is not good. 68 is even still a bit conceivable, but 69 is proper witch hunting. So all this should actually be put into consideration. If you have people like that in your department, you should always avoid them to the best of your capacity. May Allah assist us in doing this. Conclusively, it is my ardent belief. Therefore, AMSA members stand a chance to add another form of jihad to that of the pen. Statutorily, all AMSA members are jihadists of the pen, which is statutory, using this avenue and thus get rewarded for another form of jihad entirely. Conclusively, it is my ardent belief that the steps outlined and espoused in this piece, of course not limited only to the ones suggested by this worthless one, if adhered to religiously, can occasion the birth of successful tabligh on our campuses and possibly harvest of bay'ah from AMSA members through the grace of Allah and His mercy. I want to thank you once again for listening. Jazakumullahu khairan. I will take a bow here, and I wouldn't know if there are questions before we call it a day. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Al-Hajj al-Mukarram al-Muballigh Muhammad Wais. My prayer has always been that may Allah continue to enrich you in everything profitable.
Amen.
And may Allah increase your taqwa. I think we have all listened. And if you are just joining, I sympathize with you because you have missed a lot. And you may still benefit, especially when the questions and answers is on stage. However, at this stage,
Bismillah, sir.
we are entertaining questions and answers. Please, if you have questions, please, it's either you unmute yourself and ask, or you forward it to the chat box. Send a question here. One, according to your first step, can reading Jamaat published books increase someone's knowledge? Number two, can you differentiate between Salafiyya and Wahhabiyya? Once again, you said there is a difference between Salafiyya and Wahhabiyya. This question is coming from Muhammad Ademusu. That is the question. That's a question I have seen here yet. I wouldn't know whether there has been any other questions. So this is what we have at the moment. Yes.
Should I answer the two questions now?
Tafaddal.
Now, Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuhu.
Wa alaikum barakatuh.
Yes, of course, reading Jamaat literatures can actually improve one's ta'lim. However, with respect to Arabic, I want to bet it with you that you cannot read the Arabic works of the promised Messiah and understand the contents. Because even Arabic scholars of his age,
still finding it difficult.
Arabic scholars of his age, classical Arabic scholars in the caliber of Sheikh Rashid Radha, Ahmad Radha Khan, celebrated Arabic scholars, ran Allama Muhammad Iqbal. They ran away from intellectual challenges posed by him to compete with him in Arabic literary, in Arabic literary prowess. So you stand no chance of benefiting from his Arabic works if you do not have a solid Arabic background. I want to confess, even my humble self, a PhD student of Arabic language in view, I read his books with dictionaries. And so also people of like minds who are in the Jama'ah, you can confirm from Al-Hafiz Abdul Rafiq Alaka, Sheikh Ismail Afolabi is here, Sheikh Abdul Rafiq Alaka. You cannot read his books without, you not use dictionaries, you use lexicons. You must consult Arabic lexicons before you understand a page. You consult 2 or 3 lexicons before understanding a page. So you stand no chance.
That's the grandfather of Wole Soyinka.
You stand no chance with respect to his Arabic works. However, it can actually increase your Islamic understanding greatly if you make do with the English works. But the translations cannot actually do justice to the expressions, the beauty, the flowery nature of his, and the prophetic quality of the language he used in the original Arabic versions. So, by Allah's grace and mercy, the Arabic desk of the Jama'ah, they are doing a yeoman job. They are translating so many of these books into English language. You can always make do with the English translations. So that's the first question. And the second one is with respect to the difference between Salafiyya and Wahhabiyya. Fine. They are fond of addressing themselves. When I say they, I'm referring to these so many Ahlul Sunnah Muslims as Salafis. They want us to believe that Salafiyya is what they actually exhibit, that they embody the pristine Islam practiced by the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the first 3 generations of Muslims. Unfortunately for them, this is wrong etymologically, linguistically, and even in reality. When you say Salafiyun in Surf, Ilmu Surf, Salafiyun, that ya is ya linisba. That ya they use to actually arrogate somebody to a group or a party. So when you say Nigerian, that ya is ya unisba. You are ascribing being Nigerian to yourself. So when you say Saudian, you are ascribing the nationality, being a Saudi indigent to yourself. So when you say Salafiyun, or Salafiyya, that is the infinite form of the name Salafiyya. It is etymologically wrong to refer to yourself as a Salafiyu when you are not of the 3 generations of the Muslims. However, commonsensically, they want us to deduce that they use that terminology because they are following their footsteps. Unfortunately for them, the reality belies that so many of them, with due reference to their Arabic scholarship and erudition, they talk about fellow Muslims in the most unholy manner. They disparage holy personages in Islam. You see them even to the extent that some of them, very recently, they have also passed an edict of kufru against no lesser a person than some companions of the Prophet. When I heard, I was just laughing. Somebody sent a clip to me. One of them, Jabata, he was actually vilifying Abdullah ibn Abbas on account of the fact that there was a famine that erupted in the Arabian Peninsula some 10 years after the death of the Prophet. And on account of that, he went to the grave of the Prophet to pray that rain should start falling so that the famine may actually pass them over. And eventually, rain fell and there was peace in the land. However, Abdullah ibn Abbas had problems with the fact that he went to the Prophet's grave to pray, and he also prayed using the Prophet's influence in Allah's court, so to say. So he was now saying that what he did is a bid'ah, what he did is wrong, this and that. He was even saying that if he was not a companion, he would have known what to say. I wonder what he would say if Abdullah ibn Abbas was not a companion. So they have gone to that an extent. So when they say that they are following the footsteps of the companions of Prophet Tabligh, you see that the reality is actually against what they profess. I also said linguistically, Salafiyu could also mean somebody who has the same rank as these people. So unfortunately, this is also a white lie. They can never have the same rank. The Prophet categorically excommunicated all the Muslims of the later generations out of the corridors of excellence that is agreeable to the companions. He says, La tasubbu ashabi, do not abuse my companions. Walau anna ahadakum anfaqo misla jabalil uhdi dhahaban ma balago mudda ahadihim wala nasifah. The Prophet is reported to have said, do not revile my companions. Do not abuse my companions. For any one of you, generations of the later Muslims, if you were to spend a valley filled with gold in the way of Allah, it would still not be deemed to have reached the slightest or the smallest degree of excellence as compared to the companions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when that is taken into consideration, the claim they are actually laying before us that they are Salafiyu, meaning that they have the same degree of excellence, or they are aiming at having the same degree of excellence with these people, will also be falsified. A destructive act will now be put on the right they have to lay claim to such a worthy name. So Wahhabiyya is actually what so many of them profess. There is this scholar called Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab. Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab is actually the founder of the revivalist Al-Sunnah sect called Wahhabiyya. So, and it is from this Imam that the name Wahhabiyya emanated. So, when they say Salafiyya and they perpetrate ideologies belonging to Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab, then you should know that what they say is actually in contrary to the reality. On one hand, they claim to be Salafis, but they perpetrate ideologies belonging to Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab. So that is why I said what we should call them is Wahhabiyya and not Salafiyya, even if they refer to themselves as Salafis. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khairan. Yes, we have other further questions that I have received. However, to further strengthen your responses, especially with the first two questions, I will also want to recommend to the questioner and every other person that if you are a student of Arabic, then try to get yourself familiar with some of the Arabic books of the Jamaat, Arabic literatures of the Jamaat. You can get familiar with this regular magazine. This is Ataqwa. Get yourself also familiar with some of the Arabic literatures, like you have with Qawlu Sarihi, then you have some of these books. Get also familiar with the website of the Jamaat, especially in Arabic. If you are not the Arabic speaker or reader, then literatures of the Jamaat can definitely improve your knowledge. First, get yourself familiar with books like Murder in the Name of Allah. Get yourself familiar with books like Invitation to Ahmadiyyat. If you read Invitation to Ahmadiyyat very conveniently, and underline very conveniently, meaning that you have to read not like you are studying for exam, but you have to read like, yes, everything here, I want to know it. So I think my first year in Jamia was when I read Invitation to Ahmadiyyat. And I have not stopped reading Invitation to Ahmadiyyat till date. My second book that I read in Jamia was Islam or Apostasy, Ahmadiyya, or Qadianism. So I also read that in my first year in Jamia, and it has continued to be my companion. You know, make some of these books your companion. And I can assure you that you will never regret reading those books, because you will become familiar with a whole lot of things. If you read Islam or Apostasy, Ahmadiyya, Qadianism, that will answer some of the allegations usually posed by this anti-Ahmadiyyat. Then, furtherance to the question on Ahlus Sunnah. Ahlus Sunnah to me is a deceptive coinage. It's a deceptive coinage, because every Muslim is Ahlus Sunnah. every Muslim will practice one sunnah or another derived from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So how would a class of disgruntled individuals arrogate such coinage to themselves to the exclusion of other Muslims? I think it is a fraud from the start, and that fraud must be pointed out. Jazakallah khairan, jaza for the erudition. We also, now let me read. Okay, I saw Muzaffar raising his hand. Please, Muzaffar, definitely I'm going to call you.
The website is hamadianswers.com. So, and make good use of that website, just like what Barrister Badru said, that they can make it as their companion. So that website has everything you need to know about Ahmadiyya and how to have a reasonable conversation with non-Ahmadis. So if you go to the website, you see all the Quranic evidences about the death of Jesus Christ. You see the Hadith evidences. You also see the non-Ahmadis scholars, their evidences about it. Then apart from that, there is also another topic that talks about the finality of Prophet. So you see detailed explanation about it. Then you also see truthfulness of Imam Mahdi, alayhi salatu wasalam. So you see Quranic explanation, you see scholar explanation, you see Hadith explanation. Then you also see the detailed narration of what happened during the demise of the promised Messiah, alayhi salatu wasalam. So, because most time when you meet Ahmadis, you know, they say a lot of things about how the promised Messiah, alayhi salatu wasalam, passed away. So if you go to that website, you see detailed explanation about how the event happened. So additional thing we can do is that we can also try to, cultivate the habit of reading 5 volumes commentary of the Holy Quran. It's voluminous, but it's step by step. And me personally, I fell in love with it when the office of the Tabligh then in Nigeria instructed all the Jamaat to make use of the 5 volumes commentary in their morning das. So, and I fell in love with it by, then I was jobless, and my dad used to force me to be the one to do the task. So, each time I'm being forced to read verses from the Holy Quran and give explanation. So I noticed that most of those explanations were really, really on point. Like, they really, really make sense. And for everybody who have read it, there's no way you will read the 5 volumes commentary of the Holy Quran. If you have any conversation with anybody, be it Christian or Muslim, they will see you as somebody whose knowledge is at the higher side. So, and another advantage about reading the 5 volumes commentary is, apart from Tabligh is not just for the non-Ahmadis only. The Christians are included as well. So you are also a student today. You might find yourself in a corporate environment, most especially if you happen to be the only Muslim there. The Christians are very, very petty when it comes to the fact that you are the only Muslim in their midst. They will preach the word of God to you, but they will call it the love of God. So, and if you are not, if you are not upright in terms of knowledge and your religious this thing, you might get involved in things that they do. So when you read the 5 volumes commentary and when you give explanation, like for example, when I was in Union Bank, they asked me questions like, why did Muslims go into, why did God instructed Muslims to marry more than one wife? And if you actually take a look at the 5 volumes commentary of the Holy Quran written by the second Caliph, you will see that the explanation is far, far more meaningful than the general one that we used to hear, that male alone. The general explanation is male alone. But the actual reason why God said we should have more than one wife. So, and there are also questions about, the creation of the heaven and earth, the earth itself, like the creation of Adam itself. As an Ahmadi, if you read the commentary of that Quran verse that talks about it, if you have discussions with even people that are white people, and you give your explanation about it, they tend to see you as, oh, this person is knowledgeable, but your backbone is just the 5 volumes commentary. So if you are able to do that, coupled with the Tabligh and the Talim program that the Jamaat have for us, then we'll be all rounded. So may Almighty Allah continue to make it easy for us, and may Almighty Allah has we are on the right path. I must tell you, may Almighty Allah make our this thing firm in this Jamaat. So that's the little thing I want to say. So Jazakumullah khairan and kudos to the AMSA National. Assalamu alaikum.
Somebody is saying, Mr. Chairman, may I use this medium to seek your permission to formally introduce some of our distinguished guests who are on the call. Please go ahead and introduce these distinguished guests, please, before I take the questions. Thank you.
Jazakumullah khairan, sir. I want to take this medium to introduce respected brother Abdul Salam Shakur. Now, he is a 7 Ilako Kohid, Kwara Ilako, Majlis Hudam Al Ahmadiyya, Nigeria. He has been on the call right from the beginning of the program. Please forgive our inadequacies. Thank you for honoring our invitation. You are humbly welcome. Sir. You can please say Taslim to the house if you heard me, sir. Wala Shakur Abdul Salam.
Oh, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khairan, sir. Please forgive us. We should have done this earlier than this.
No problem.
Also, may I use this medium to also recognize the presence of respected Muallim Abdul Hakim Akintobi, who is serving as a Secretary Talimul Quran and Waqfu Ardi, Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat of Nigeria. He has also been on the call right from the moment we started. Jazakallah khairan for honoring our invitation, sir. You can also say Taslim to the house.
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khairan, sir.
Barakallahu fi.
Okay, I think who is anchoring the panel session? Who is?
I'm here, sir.
Please go ahead, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa
barakatuh. I welcome us all to the panel session of this August occasion happening in August. Jazakumullah khairan to our keynote speaker. He has done justice to the topic given. However, we want to get perspectives from people who have held the highest position in AMSA over the years. Our panelists are meant to be 3. We have Dr. Taufik Sani. Please say Taslim to the house, sir.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh. So also we have Al-Hafiz Alaka Abdul Rakib. Can say Taslim to the house.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So inshallah, I'll be having both of them to discuss the theme of this panel discussion, which is spreading divine message on campus, the step-by-step approach. Inshallah, we want to look at the past, then examine the present situation, then project into the future. That is why we have the clusters of the past president of AMSA in our midst. So the keynote speaker has given us a lot as regards those things that are necessary and the ways we can actually go about Tabligh on campus. I mentioned the fact that someone who wants to talk to people has to first be equipped with that kind of knowledge. So we have to start with our talim, then also exhibit the trait of tarbiyah, then before we can now go into Tabligh. And it also gave us some ways whereby you can go into Tabligh, like inviting people to Jamaat, writings, and also providing some services within the university environment. So I will start with Dr. Sunnyside. You were the president of AMSA between 2005 and 2009, if I'm very correct. That's some years back. We can see that the time difference between when Dr. Sunny left office and when Hafiz Abdul came to office was like a decade. So we have kind of large distance between them. So we can actually examine two different seasons or two different times of AMSA. So Dr. Sunny, while you were AMSA president, how was the talim like? What was the focus of the talim of the members then, sir?
Yes. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Standing on the existing protocols, starting from the chairman down to where the protocols have been established, let me first of all appreciate AMSA Nigeria for holding this program. I would say that during our own time, Islamic knowledge among students wasn't this wide. In fact, the Ahmadis in school then were the one who has most of the Islamic knowledge that people could call knowledge at that time. There are a few MSN brothers too who have some knowledge, but many of them just join MSN and start following the Akida without much knowledge as compared to us. So I would say that during our time, comparably, we had better knowledge of Islam generally than other brothers in the school. So it was easier for us, for those brothers who are nominal Muslim, who are not joining MSN, and for those who have joined MSN without much knowledge, to actually listen to us when discourse on issues arises. Also, I also see that during that period of time, because we do not have great challenge of extra knowledge than what we have been taught in Atfal, in Ali Kudam days, and all that. We read Quran very, very well, friendly, and all that. We concentrated ourselves more on gathering knowledge about the Jamaat that we claim to represent. In fact, there are a lot of lies being peddled around at that time. Cursive books that have been read by our Mexican brothers, written by non-Ahmadi. So our power of Islamic defense, of the Jamaat defense, was basically our understanding of the books of the Promised Messiah, the book of the Khalifa, to explain to people what the stand of Ahmadiyya is.
Okay, Jazakumullah khairan. So one thing I could take away from there is that you do not have much people who would really challenge the intellectual capacity of members of AMSA then, like we later have. So Hafiz Abdul, can we say the same thing during your time? Can we say that the same style of approach was still in place during your time? And can we say that people do not have much knowledge like Doctor have said now during your own time?
Okay, assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So let me start on the already established protocol. So contrary to what Dr. Saab has said, you also mentioned at the beginning that the gap between the time he ruled over AMSA and my time was like a decade, because I came into office in 2019. And you could tell, even in Nigeria, a lot has happened between 2009 and 2019. And as such, contrary
to the way the world is as far as Talim is concerned. In 2019, it was a different thing entirely. The knowledge was not, or let me say, Talim was not limited. It was not an exclusive right of the Ahmadis on campus then, because now we have MSS brothers who are very, very, let me say, they claim to be vast in the ways of the Ahmadis. But of course, it is until you engage them, you know that they have nothing. It is just mere ASAs and congestors and the likes. So, but the thing is, we had serious challenges, because now there are MSS brothers challenging our brothers and sisters on campus on the authenticity of the claims of Prophet Messiah. And I could remember during the time of Brother Abdulaziz Alaron, I think that was sometimes in 2015, that was when AMSA started this program, the Tabligh seminar that we do have after the Jalsa Salana each year. You know, it was established during the time of the former Amir, Professor Moshood Adele Fashola, may Allah be his helper, and also Dr. Said Timehin then, he was the National Tabligh Secretary, you know, of Ahmadiyya Muslim of Nigeria. They worked together to establish that, and it was during the time of Brother Izalaron. And I could remember from the first one we had, the first edition we had, we were focusing on some of these things, the bone of discussion between Ahmadis and non-Ahmadis, you know, discussing the death of Prophet Isa, the truthfulness of the claims of Prophet Messiah, then the talks around Khatmun Nubuwa. You know, these are topics that you need to have right understanding of. It is not just about, you know, understanding what is Islam, what are the 5 pillars of Islam, what are the 6 articles of faith, because now these are the things people want to hear from you. People want you to stand up and prove that, okay, this is why you're an Ahmadi, you actually understand these discussions and all that. So we had that program, and that was, let me say, that year, I could say that was when we got to understand that there is a need for us to forge ahead. We need to move away from the past, where we were only interested in what Islam is, articles of faith, you know, normal Islamic discussions. And this time around, we need to defend Ahmadiyya more. It all started in that year. And until my time in 2019, it was still the same thing. And from then on, even last year also, people that came for the Tabligh seminar, what we were still feeding them was these topics, you know, Khatmun Nubuwa, Akiko to Imam Mahdi alayhi salam, and the likes. So in short, between 2009 and 2019, a lot has changed. Number one, Talim was no longer the exclusive right of the Ahmadis. We are no longer the one that people look up to. In fact, some feel that, what do the Ahmadis know? But of course, sometimes they try to, you know, concede to us. Some of them that we have had encounter with, they consider, okay, fine, you people, you actually know what you're doing. But a whole lot of them still feel like, okay, no, you cannot tell us that we are on the right path, but we feel we are on the right path. So let me just cut it short there based on the question you asked me.
All right. Back to Dr. Sal. I want to ask like 2 questions together. Number one is that during your time, can we say that we have product, we have the results of Tabligh in our higher institutions, probably people who got into the Jamaat through the efforts of members of the Jamaat? That is one. The second one is, how can you describe the moral rectitude of members during that time? What can we say that, okay, can we say averagely our members are 100% like upright and all those things? Because this is one of the key areas that drive Tabligh. People need to show that moral rectitude before they can actually invite people to come and join them. So what can we say about the moral exhibition of members of the Jamaat during that period? And also, can we say that you have some products from the Tabligh efforts of members of AMSA during that time?
Assalamu alaikum. Is the question directed to me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Jazakallah khairan. And let me say that, as compared to what I see recently, Afisala Kasai will be able to say more. Our moral development and moral training and exhibition of those training was better and at its peak in those days than now. I remember that there was a time that we had a discussion on the death of Jesus Christ, and it was like a debate in one of the MSSN mosques. They invited me, started the debate from school. We took it to that mosque, and we argued. Of course, they were trying to do some Arabic. I still understand some no and solve for at that time. I did the little I could do. But when we were to end the argument, and they claimed that Ahmadis are non-Muslim and all that because of this, I believe. The question I asked everybody sitting down was, remove Ahmadiyya, remove other things. If you are to point, I asked the audience, if you are to point to a Muslim among all of us, who will be more Muslim than the other? And everybody kept short. As at that time, I was more Muslim than a lot of all those people arguing with me. So, and at that point, we were able to nail that argument. Let's forget about Ahmadiyya. They believe in Ghulam Ahmad, Jesus is not died, he's in heaven. They believe Jesus had died. Let's remove all that. Imagine you don't know I'm an Ahmadiyya before now. Who is a more Muslim? Who is more a Muslim among all of us? And people have to agree that it's like Sonny is more a Muslim, and he does good things, he does this, he does that. So I would say that our morality at that time was at its peak. And that morality actually speaks for us, and it helped us. So we do not only have a moral training, the little that we had, we may not compare those training with the one that we are having now. This is a period of internet, people get a lot of information, people are even more trained and are more versed in Islamic training and context. But in our own days, they were so limited to the books. You need to read books a lot. And if you are to read some, if you have to read Ahmadiyya or Qadianism, Islam or apostasy alone, it will take you a lot of time. You read the Reformer, it takes you a lot of time. So in those days, we are on the review of religion too. It's not as common as we have it now. Then it is only through the Jamaat that you will get it and be able to read it. So we are limited to few trainings. But one thing that I observe about our members, those who are Ahmadis, in those days there are differences. Those who are AMSA members are serious ones. The ones that do not want to be serious, when they come to the campus or when they are in the university, they don't join AMSA. You will be dragging them. But for those that have joined, our religious training was so high at that time that we're able to convince a lot of people that Ahmadiyya should be true. So for those who are confused in between, could Ghulam Ahmad be prophet, could Jesus be coming back and all that, those who are nominal Muslim, we will be saying one thing, the other Muslims, the MSSN will be saying another thing. And because of their own small Islamic knowledge, they get confused most times. They don't even know which one to follow. But what has helped them severally is to say that it's like these Ahmadi people are a better Muslim. They understand Islam, they can read the Quran very well, they are nice, they behave well, they use their cap, the female use their veil. I used to remember that even as a medical student at that time, I used to use cap to school. I'll put on my cap. It was when I got to 500 level in the Shagamu campus doing clinicals and I stopped using my cap. You still put on our cap. So because of those moral excellence, and that's also about every other person, not me alone, every other person in AMSA at that time. If you look at all of us, we are still in the Jamaat today and doing well at Majlis Ahmadiyya, we did well. We're also doing well in Ansarullah now. So because of the high moral training, we're able to impact more in the life of people. So I would say that the Tabligh effort at that time was majorly on the little knowledge that we had and our exhibition of Islamic morality and Islamic teaching. The females among us, if they use small hijab, it was easier for us to correct them. You correct them, you tell them right into the, if they want to use big hijab, they will not even come to mosques at all. But contrary to what I witnessed in recent time, that you even see Avisor who have memorized the entire Holy Quran using small veil, even at Jalsa. In our own days, you may use small veil in school if you are the bad girl. But when you are coming to Jalsa, you see dressed like an angel. We'll now be making jest of them that see the way they have dressed. So if people meet them at Jalsa now, they will think they have met good wives, whereas they dress badly in school. But I see people in Jalsa these days even dressing, not bad really, but not dressing so much upright Islamically. So I want to say that our morality actually had a lot of influence during that time. Let me add this to it before I round up how much our talim and exhibition of morality helped us. In recent time, this is not about AMSA. For us to know the importance of morality, I have a doctor friend whom together we did residency. I became a consultant at that time, was still a senior registrant. We were discussing one day, and he told me that he's celebrating 1 year anniversary. He was married though. 1 year anniversary of not sleeping with girls, sidekick outside, apart from his wife. And I said, you are celebrating 1 year? I said, yes. I said, the reason why I'm celebrating is because I see you that you don't carry babes. And I thought about it one day that if Sonny is not carrying babes, if I don't carry babes too, will I die? And say he made up I did not preach to him. He's a Christian, no. So I don't even preach to him not to carry baby. We did not have discussion to that level. But we know ourselves within the hospital. And he said he made up his mind to stop carrying side chick because he saw an example in me. And at that day that he was telling me 1 year. And I said to my man, Alhamdulillah, if I had mistakenly carried one girl, maybe last week now, I would have destroyed this person's faith. Of course, he has not converted to Islam. Later, that good character, which his family, his wife, and his children may also benefit from. That if some people are not carrying girls, why should I carry girls all the time? So it shows that even without our character can actually influence people a lot. And I think those are the golden things that we are during our days, where with our good character, a lot of people were influenced into joining the Jamaat or to be more active in Islam, or they may not join Jamaat at times, but they have this love for the Jamaat because of our exemplary life. I think that was the gain that we are during our period.
All right, Jazakumullah khairan, sir. Now to Hafiz Abdul Rakib. Now, when we listen to what the doctor has said now, he made mention of the fact that even though that time there was the knowledge is not as vast as we have now, or maybe let's limit ourselves to 2019. The kind of knowledge that we have was not as much as like when we had in 2019. Then we do not have as much knowledgeable people as we have now. So what could have been, or you first answer the question of, can we say that there has been like a kind of low bar in terms of multitude of members of AMSA within that period, that 2009, 2019? You answer that one. Then if it is negative, what could have caused that? Because now that we even have, people are more knowledgeable, the syllabus of Atfal would have even be like more inclusive than before. We have more people who are going to Hafiz classes and all these things. What could have caused all this? Because when he mentioned about the way people dress at Jalsa, it is now we can even see some that can post their pictures without even hijab. Ladies who post their pictures without even hijab on the internet. Those people who come to Jalsa, they might use small hijab. It has now gone down. The way he mentioned it, that when they were in school, they use small hijab. When they come to Jalsa, they use big hijabs. Now, when they were in school, they might even not use anything. Now, when they come to Jalsa, they might use small hijabs. It has now gone to that extent. What could have caused that? Coupled with the fact that there is more knowledge. It's not like the knowledge is going down. There is more knowledge, but the way people are exhibiting these things is now coming down. What could have caused all these things?
Okay, first, I would say that morality is not as it used to be during the days of Dr. Saab. That is a fact that we all know of. So, and let me say there are two things I want to say. One is good and the other is bad. The good one first is the fact that, let me say, from that 2015 that we started the Tabligh seminar, we have had a higher number of members that are willing to contribute to the progress of the Jamaat. Before then, people see missionaries as the only ones that are for Tabligh activities. Any other member that is not a missionary never thinks himself to be someone that could be an agent for the Jamaat as far as Tabligh is concerned. And from there, you could see the drive in people, the zeal that they want to learn. And I feel that's as a result of the vastness that we have in knowledge these days, and people are so willing, and that's the good thing. But the problem now is, the bad one is, we have not been able to measure up morally. We have not been able to balance the knowledge that we have with morality, and that's a cause for concern. And now you ask me, what could be the reason for that? This is something I've always been asking myself over the years, and I have one single reason that I feel is the root cause of all this. Now, if I want to put it straight, I would say the economic situation of a country, I could say industrialization, I could say anything that has to do with the country. And if you ask me how, okay, let me start by this. Growing up, I can easily tell that Dr. Sonny could bear me witness, he was our big brother, our father. Then don't let me say brother, our father. When we were growing up in Ijebode, my dad was the missionary at our mosque in Obalinde in Ijebode. And that was where we grew up. In 1996, my father was posted to Ijebode. He was there for the first time, and the second time he was posted there in 1996. And I could still very well remember my first day in a primary school. That was in 1998. Where I'm driving at is this. During those days, Talim in the Jamaat was very, very strong, extraordinarily strong. People come for Maghrib prayer and they do not go back to their houses. They don't go back until after Isha. When they come, they stay in the mosque. It is either there is a dars going on, the missionary, my dad giving dars, or there are questions and answers. Even if there is nothing, you see people sitting together discussing the way forward, and life, everything that brings brotherhood, everything that breeds, morality. They correct us. There is enough tahajjud. People come for tahajjud, even though then, when we come for tahajjud, if you don't know that mosque very well, we used to play football till like 12 a.m., 1 a.m. It is my dad that will come from the inside and say, hey, boys, go and sleep. But one thing I understand then was we were taught, we were trained very well. I never understood anything, any life outside mission house. I don't know any other thing outside mission house. It was so clear. But what are we witnessing today? What we are witnessing today is that people now, when our members are aspiring to have a house for themselves, they do not consider the proximity to our mosques. So people, real estate, they go in, they want to, the well-to-do among us, they want to dine with the rich, the people they feel belong to their social class, and now they do not put proximity to mosque in consideration. And people are so far away from our mosque. People are so far away from our mosque, coupled with the fact that the economic situation of the country is very, very bad. Now, I'm happy that Ustaz Ablakim Akintobi is here. I happen to be a Talim Quran secretary for Jamia Ahmadiyya Jamaat. They know Jamaat here. And we've had issues, going, following the program, the later program from the Office of the Talim Quran. We have the Tarjama, Tafsir, and the likes. The only thing we have been able to do is to probably train some of these small kids, because there is a school here, there's a Tafi school here owned by Ustaz Akeuberu Ali. So it is the students that we train in the mosque in the night. The elderly ones, the Ansarullah, let me say the Khudam and the Ansarullah, it is either they are still at their places of work or they are back from work and they will just be inside. They do not come out for the program at all. So this is where the problem is. The Arabs will say, "Faqidu shay'in la yu'tihi." He who is devoid of something cannot give it out. Whatever it is you lack, you cannot give it out. We are not well trained. Our fathers then that gave birth to the likes of Dr. Tawfiq Sani, they were well trained. The system of the Jamaat, they followed the system of the Jamaat to the latter, and they were well trained. They were able to train Dr. Saab, and also to an extent, even though it was at the later part of that system that we came to be, we received a little bit part of that training. But now, if you are not careful as a father, you are not going to have enough to give to your kids. And the problem we are witnessing on campus, why people lack morality, why our members are exhibiting bad morals, came right from the home. So it is not the fault of the AMSA system, it is rather the fault of the parents. And that emanated from the fact that our people, go to our mosque. There are so many mosques. When I was in Abeokuta, there are so many mosques. We have so many mosques there that people do not observe daily prayers there. During the day, the mosques are locked up. Sometimes, probably they open them up during Fajr and maybe a Isha prayer. But most times, we have so many mosques that are locked up. But on Fridays, they come. We have limited everything to Fridays. And now, before that, we used to have Dars after Fajr and after Maghrib. This time around, there are even mosques. There are some of our mosques that they do not even have Dars, short Dars after Fajr again. Assalamu alaikum, assalamu alaikum, people zoom off. This is where and I feel this is why we are experiencing the downturn in our morality at the present moment. Jazakumullah.
Yeah, Jazakumullah khairan for that. I want Dr. Sonny to answer that same question. And in this light, I want you to give us your own view on what will have caused this particular problem and the way forward, especially for members of AMSA that are listening. Because Yoruba will say, Alagemo ti bi metan, aimojo ku sowe. But then we are already adults. So we are at the stage where we can make decisions for ourselves. Let's say probably like Hafiz has rightly said that our parents, due to maybe they were not closer to the mosque enough, we could not get enough training and all those things. Now that most of us are adults, we can make decisions for ourselves. We can actually make practical decisions to change all these narratives for ourselves and how to improve ourselves in all these things. So I want you to talk about what you think is the reason for this downturn and the way forward also.
Yeah, Jazakumullah khairan and jaza. And assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh once again. I would say that as said by Hafiz Abdul Fiq Alakasai, in our own days, or in those days, in the AMSA of those days, it is not really necessary for your parent to actually train you. The system of the Jamaat trains you itself by giving you doubts at marks. You see people you want to emulate or you want to follow. When we are growing in AMSA, when we are still very young in AMSA, the people like Barisa Badru Sahib, Bodomo Yele Sahib, Bodasola Kilberi Sahib, were national officer while I was a unit president. So you see people, Barista Wadi Sahib, you see people that you are emulating, and the system of the Jamaat trains you. So even if your parents do not have the knowledge, because parents in those days do not have vast Islamic knowledge, but they know the right thing to do. So as the system of the Jamaat trains you, they also support you at home to achieve that training. However, unfortunately, during these days, because people don't go to Jamaat again, in fact, the trainers in the Jamaat in those days are individuals who have sacrificed themselves to train the youth or to train the people at the mosques. In those days, even in Ibadan, you will see people who are not missionaries, who are surgically saddled themselves with training people. Juma service can even be taken by them. They have a lot of knowledge, they are not missionaries, and they are helping. But during this time around, we do not have people who have that time anymore. In fact, as said by Afisallah Kasai, when you get to the mosque, there are no people in the mosque to even train others. That's number one. The missionaries too are so overwhelmed these days that the job of ensuring that people even pay shanda and all that is overwhelming. That the training of individuals in the Jamaat are not even being anchored very well by the missionaries again. And to make matter worse, what would have been done to solve these issues for individuals to train their children at home? I remember that in those days, when my children were growing up before they went to Hafiz school, I was the one taking them the Arabic, their assignment myself. They must be assigned before they take their bait to go to school every morning. And later, my smaller kids were being taken by my wife. So the house designed a system where even without you going for the Jamaat Arabic class, because they weren't as parents, we are taking up the responsibility of training our children ourselves. Why they will now go for programs during the weekend, as far program, not far program, where other memorization, how to pray, and all that could be actually given to them. And in the home too, you can actually set a standard too. This is the way I want you to dress as a male child. This is the way I want you to dress as a female child. Those are the things we are lacking now. In those days, we were lacking some of them. But because the Jamaat system was so strong in terms of programs, in terms of training, in terms of mentorship, people are actually mentored by the Jamaat. So the deficit in the family, the deficit in the parents were covered. But these days, because those Jamaat support system weren't there again, the deficit of the parents are now showing. I remember that those people are not using hijab very well during our time in AMSA. Those who do not dress well, those who do not come to program, they do not do so because their parents do not give them the reason to do so. Well, they will tell you, I use this hijab at home, my mom don't complain, my dad don't. What is your own? So you will see that the problem that they had was the family problem, was the problem was the home training that they lacked. So many parents do not understand many of these principles of Islam anymore. And they do not have a system where that good system of Islam is being imbibed in their children. So the children are not being trained. by the parents. So we have the deficit of the Jamaat. We now have the problems with the parents not training their children. To now make matter worse, because of social media now, children cannot take up that training. In fact, to use hijab, when you are beautiful, if you use hijab these days, it's like you are concealing the favor God has given to you. And to make matter worse, when you dress badly, or you wear bad clothes, or you veil your body, you will even see fellow Ahmadi brothers or other Muslims saying you are beautiful, you are gorgeous. In those days, they were abusive during our own time. Now, which kind of nonsense are you putting on? But these days, you will even see Ahmadi brothers saying you are beautiful, you are gorgeous to those ladies. So ladies have grown up to see that or to believe that when they dress badly, we still appreciate them. And that's what we want. So the Jamaat system is not strong enough to train people as required anymore. Unfortunately, again, the family system has broken down. Parents are not taking care of their children anymore. They are not giving their children the training they should give them in terms of morality. And to now make matter what, the social media is now teaching them immorality. So I think what we need to do to solve this problem, number one, is individuals must make up their mind that they want to be good. As you have said, Allah Gemoti be more. We are now in the university. There are things that our parents may not be able to change anymore because we do not stay with them. And the Jamaat system may also not be able to change much. So as individuals too, we must make up our mind that we want to do good. I want to start behaving well. We want to start showing good morality. We want to be upright. That's number one. Number two, AMSA too as a system should also support those brothers. I remember in those days, our friends, even up to now, I don't have friends outside the Jamaat. Our friends are fellow Ahmadi brothers. We move together, we do things together. And you dare not do any evil because somebody somewhere will see you. You cannot even toast a girl. You cannot even move with a non-Ahmadi lady. Somebody will see you that you are moving with a non-Ahmadi lady. And they'll start asking you. In those days, there is that confidence for them to ask, but Alagbaja, we saw you with a non-Ahmadi girl. We are not dating Asha. So there is a system within ourselves where we are able to see ourselves, do things together, and correct ourselves when we are making mistakes. I think what AMSA needs to do now is to give support to other brothers who are not as opportune as we are from home. They don't have that training. If you are close to them, if we make friends with them, though some of them may not listen, no, but we must still make attempt. If you are close to them, make friends with them, and we have a system of correcting them gradually, or imbibing now the right spirit into them, and making them to see that those doing the right thing are also not doing poorly. Maybe that may help them. One of the reasons why I got married early in school, I was a 500 medical school at that time, was because I saw that in the Jamaat at that time, I was the AMSA national president too. People are not getting married on time. And brothers who used to be disciplined, because of their delaying marriage, we've seen some of them fall in traps. And I make up my mind I will get married in school. Not because I love ladies that way, but to show people that if you think that your spirit or your strength cannot take you to be decent till you finish school, why not get married in school? It will not affect your academic, it won't affect anything. And when we got married in school and they saw that we still became doctor, alhamdulillah, Allah still helped us, we are doing well in life. A lot of people now started thinking, I can get married in school and nothing will happen at that time. So we can also lead by example. Those of us who are upright, we may begin to do well academically while we also showcase Islamic morality. So when brothers who are not well groomed and sisters who are not well groomed at all, when they see us that this brother is doing well, he has first class, he has 2-1, yet he's morally upright. Why will I now say academic will stop me from being morally upright? It's also easier, it will also be easier for us to also preach morality to them. And I think this will go a long way in helping us. So we should also talk to the people who are elders now, the Ansarullah, to also talk to parents at home. That charity begins at home. The training of their children begins at home. When the children are still very young, because some children have gone haywire, there is nothing you can do to them. Some are addicted to drugs. I know Ahmadi brother who uses drugs. It may not be in terms of smoking, but they are addicted to some drugs and they cannot change. We've seen Ahmadi brothers, Ahmadi sisters who are addicted to sex. If you preach to them, they may finish it and cry you. They are addicted, they cannot change. So some of these characteristics, some of these attributes can actually be curtailed while people are growing within the family. However, if they have grown and they are now addicted to this immorality, to these behaviors, We still have a lot of things to do as AMSA. We must keep on preaching to them. I've seen people who used to drive badly in AMSA. When they got to final year, they change. In Lagina today, they are very, very responsible. So it shows that our preaching is actually work. Why? But in the earlier part, it wasn't working. They weren't changing. They were still doing the bad thing they used to do. But just that suddenly at final year, they just changed. They were doing well. And today in Lagina Imaila, we still meet. They are doing very, very well in Lagina Imaila. It shows that our preaching was actually working. But we weren't seeing the manifestation at the earlier time. But a point came when the accumulation of the preaching by everybody now influenced the life of those brothers and sisters. So it will show us that if we keep on preaching, no matter how bad our brothers and sisters are, we keep on preaching, we keep on telling them the truth, we keep on telling them what they should do right. Whether they change or not should not be our concern. Let us keep on saying it. They may change in future, they may change in school, they may even change outside school as a result of the impact of our lectures. So we must keep on giving those lectures. We must keep on telling them the right thing. We must keep on encouraging them to do the right thing. And we must keep on supporting them to do the right thing, especially for those of us who understand. And individual support will depend on what individual like. For those who are morally upright, who are brothers, who are very intelligent, who are doing well in school, you get close to fellow people who love academics, but who are not morally upright. Because of the academics similarity in you, they tend to see you, they tend to change because of you. Some brother love sports. I know Taekwondo also did a lot at that time. For those who love sport, use that sport to get closer to people who love sport, who are immoral with their sport. You are morally upright with your own sport, may be able to influence them. I think if we do this, we'll be able to change some of our brothers. And when they change too, we will remember that we also become fathers and mothers. It is this change attitude that they will now take to now build their own home. But if we are unable to change them, they will become corrupt mothers and fathers, and they also corrupt their own children. And the chain of immorality reaction, we keep on going like that. So whatever we do now to change them in terms of preaching, in terms of being close to them, in terms of admonishing them, in terms of supporting them, we go a long way in building the future of the Jamaat. Because once they change and once they are doing well, they also become good mothers, good fathers, who will now train their children better. They will see the deficit in their own training. They will see the point at which they change, and they will now be able to correct that deficit in the upbringing and training of their own children. I think if we do this, we'll be able to impact more in the moral life of people, and maybe the Jamaat will be better off for it in future. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khairan. That was a very comprehensive response. Some members are asking questions in the chat box. I think you have answered these questions already, and Ustaz Wise has also answered some of those questions about members of AMSA who are not forthcoming. Someone was even saying that we should mention the fact that some Jamaat members or some parents do not connect their children to AMSA when they come to school. I guess some of those things have been answered. So if there is anybody that has questions for our panel, you can actually drop them in the chat box as we move on. So to Hafiz Abdul Rakib, AMSA has a magazine, as Zikri, because one of the things that drives Tabligh is writings. How well you can provide responses to a lot of things might not actually be core beliefs of AMSA, but anything, maybe contemporary issues, any trending issues in that society. So how well we can give responses to all those things. So AMSA has a Zikri magazine. So what can you say about the quality of that magazine and how well it gives this, it does this particular work that it was meant to do? Just like we know that AMSA are jihadists of the pen, so we cannot take writing away from AMSA as an organization.
Okay, Jazakumullah khairan. Number one, we should all know that whatever comes out from the Jamaat should own quality. That is no doubt, because it is divinely inspired, okay? So whatever comes out from the Jamaat is a quality thing. But the problem now is, the problem is not how well the magazine is structured to give responses to some of these questions that people might have. The problem is, how well do we as AMSA members read these magazines? That's the problem. The editions that we've had, the ones that we've produced in the past, I do not know if there is a new edition if any new edition is out now. But previously, how many have you read? Myself, if I ask myself, have I ever read a Dhikr magazine? Another person should ask, have you ever seen the magazine? Whether the hard copy or the soft copy, have you read anything? It still boils down to us having a change of heart, just like Dr. Sab has put it. If we as members do not read these things, if we are not ready to get the knowledge that is needed to convince people to do the tabligh, there is no way we can influence people outside. The magazine is well structured. The magazine has, wonderful content and everything. But the problem is members also, it should serve members of AMSA well first before it can serve people outside. Because some of these magazines, okay, I can remember during my time, we were thinking about having the e-magazine. We had the e-magazine, or, we couldn't produce the hard copy and the likes. So if this magazine is out, who are those that will push it out? Okay, fine, we'll push it on our page, we'll push it on our social media handles and all that. But then individuals also, when we request from individuals to push these things to people that are very close to them, do they push it? What we are witnessing today is that the people are eager to share videos or content on social media that are of memes, that are more of memes, memes, comedy, things that are worthless, frivolities. But when it comes to serious issues, they don't want to push these things out. Probably for fear of, I don't want people to know that I'm Ahmadi, or I don't want people to see me as an alpha or whatever it is. So those have spoken, and Ustaz Missionary Sahab has also said it, that what we need first is to have a change of heart ourselves. We should reform ourselves as members of Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat. We should reform ourselves. Once we reform ourselves, so the question is not about the quality of the magazine. The magazine is a quality one, but how do we make the magazine serve its purpose? And that is by us, the owners of the magazine, taking upon ourselves to study the content. As jihadis of the pen, sometimes ago, we were struggling to get content for the magazine. We were asking people to submit articles. Members, some submitted some articles, even though some of these articles, too many errors and all that, but that's fine. People that submitted, kudos to them. So many are not even interested in submitting articles. They don't care, because they do not even have what it is they want to submit to the AMSA National. So these are the things we need to analyze. At the end of the day, eventually, whether people turn up to submit articles, to bring in articles, to write anything about the Jamaat, to write anything about Islam, to write anything that is beneficial to the human populace or not, by divine inspiration, AMSA or any Ahmadiyya auxiliary body will put something out that will be of the best quality. This is the community of Brahman Messiah. That is no doubt. But then, in making the magazine to serve its purpose, that rests on us as members of AMSA. Jazakumullah.
Jazakumullah khairan for that response. I believe that every member here, with these things that we have heard from our guests, we should try and make sure that we are in a position whereby we can be able to write very well whenever they're asking for entries for articles like that. We know a lot of contemporary magazines that when they call for articles, or maybe poetry magazines and a lot like that, a lot of people will rush them because they want their own work to be published by those people. And they will even reject a lot of entries. They will choose among the best. That is how we should be doing. That if they reject your work this year, you know that that means I need to work better next year, that my work can be admitted into that. But then whenever we have such articles, such magazines, we can buy them more than one, give to our friends and all those things. That's our own, even very simple way of doing Tabligh. Back to Dr. Sab. Though I don't want to spend more than like 10 minutes more. we are given 1 hour, so I want us to be within that period. So always, whenever we have opportunity of having interactions with you, there is always this Coke. I before you even brought up the fact that you got married in school, I want to find a way to bring that up myself, because one thing is that Tabligh, we have mentioned the fact that family as a unit affects Tabligh, affects how children grow up to become who can actually make Tabligh and who can be useful to the Jamaat. So this is something that is very important to AMSA, because this is a stage where a lot of people choose their partners. So I want you to talk more about the importance or the essence of we marrying within the fold. That is one. Number two, can we say that just being an Ahmadi is enough criteria to choose a partner? Can we just say she's an Ahmadi or he's an Ahmadi, then I can go ahead and marry this person? Can we say that? Can we presently, with the present situation, can we just say that is enough for us to choose a partner?
Yes, Jazakallah khairan Azam Jazak. Yes, I want to say that the best thing, either from religious perspective or from the Jamaat perspective or from experience perspective, also that's personal. Also my experience in Rishanata, the best thing an Ahmadi can do for himself or herself is to marry within the Jamaat. Every marriage has a tendency of having problems. When you marry within the Jamaat, there is a system of the Jamaat that protects that marriage a little. And there is still that system of the Jamaat that tend to curb the man and then to curb the woman on the way they behave to each other within their marriage. So I'll say the best thing that can happen to a man is to marry within the Jamaat. That's number one. In our own days in school, our quality for marriage is not this high. It's not that we don't look at beauty. We look at beauty. Everybody has a standard beauty to himself. And the ladies to also look at the standard man to themselves. But what we have done to ourselves during AMSA Day was to find those people among ourselves. I used to tell people that, of course, AMSA is separated nationally, but I know that at unit level, we still do programs together. We see ourselves in school and we come together in the mosques to our Friday prayers. We do programs together at the mosques. It should not be that bad that you will not get someone that you like within that your fold, even in your unit, not to talk of going to other units. Of course, there are some few people that may not, the people they like, some other people might have talked to them, so those people are no more available and all that they may need to look outside and all that. I know. But we also look very well and tail down our quality requirement in a wife. Many of us, we get our wives within AMSA of our unit or within AMSA of our state and within AMSA of our area. And one good thing that does for us is that we know ourselves. We know the active ones among us and we know the non-active ones among us. So as an active AMSA member, if I want to date someone within my unit, I'm most likely going to talk to another active AMSA on the female side. We know those who are, they will just come once in a while, they are WhatsApp people. They also find a way of also talking to themselves and dating themselves. So it is not, it will be very difficult. You know, when you go and pick somebody in Jalsa, you may not be sure of that person. When you go to another unit to pick someone, you may not be sure of that person. But you cannot lie that you are not sure of somebody you picked in your unit or somebody you picked in your Jamaat mosque. We know ourselves. We know the good one among us. We know the bad ones among us. So the good tends to go for the good, while the bad, in quote, tends to go for their fellow bad. So the fact that we tell down our quality a little and we tend to marry within our reach also gave us the opportunity to always take the best as Allah has designed for us. It also helps us take the best. So if we do that, the issue of can we just marry people because they are Ahmadi will not even arise. You cannot marry people because they are just Ahmadis, either on the female side or on the male side. No. I've seen people getting married to Ahmadi guys, and they come to tell me later, that those people drinks alcohol. And nobody knew after that they drink alcohol. But the wife get to know because they are now husband and wife, that they are close. And also, if you marry some Ahmadi, you see some behaviors in them. So it's not just about being an Ahmadi. I will agree with you, my dear brother. But I know that this barrier of just marrying somebody because it's just an Ahmadi can be broken if we don't go too far to be looking for wives all around. If you marry people who are close to you, people who are around you, or people who are close to people who are close to you. For example, if I want to marry somebody through you now, you will know my level and you will know the person to give me. Let me round up this one by telling that there was a particular time that I had interest in a particular lady. And I think I was a state co-ed at that time, or I was from North Southwest. I want to take that person like my third wife at that time. And I was discussing with another MOOC member who was an AMSA member there. And he told me, Egbon, Emma Lobeyo, he said, Egbon, don't go to that line. Oh. That girl is not as good as you think. Oh. It doesn't befit somebody like you. You know, you said that you can't marry those kind of girl. Oh. She does this, she does this, that she's aware of. So don't go towards that. And I did not go at all. I don't even go to even toast the lady, not to talk of now having any relationship. And I used to see the lady as like a good person, so to say. And she has some features that I like. But because I wanted to also approach her through some people who are good and who are close to me, they were able to guide me. So if we marry Ahmadis within our unit, within our Jamaat, or we marry them to good brothers or good sisters who are close to us, we will almost always, all the time, get the good ones among ourselves. And I will say that to marry an Ahmadi will be the best. And the best is to also marry a good Ahmadi is when you are in school. When you are outside school, you are all walking around, or you are in NYS, you may not know yourself very well. When you are in school, you know yourself very well. If a guy used to come and see the girl at home where she lives, there is one Ahmadi brother that will tell you, or Ahmadi that will tell you, Salagbaja, but you will know. So the best time to marry a very good Ahmadi is when you are in school, when you can actually see the secret. It's not that you are prognosing, but you can actually see the secret or hear the secret of one another very well. By the time you are outside school, you are working somewhere, nobody may see you. I work in Ekiti now. I stay in Shagamu. How many people see me in Ekiti? Ekiti is far away, and the Ahmadis in my hospital in Ido Ekiti, we are not more than 4 or 5. But if I'm in Shagamu, if I'm at home while I was in school, people see you more than when you are working. You go into your office in the morning, you come very late in the evening. Maybe in your office, you have a staff that you are dating. People may not know outside. So the best time to actually get married to, or to start your relationship that will lead to marriage, is when you are in school, when you know yourself very well, and always find within yourself, or find around you, or find around people who are close to you also, or price so that you can get the best. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
For that. So, Hafiz Abdulraqib, I want you to give us your, like generally, this present time. What are the ways that you feel like you can go about engaging in Tabligh within our fellow students in our institutions? Then you answer that. Then you give us your parting words.
Okay, assalamu alaikum. Yeah, Dr. Tawfiq Sani has already mentioned the solution to the problems, the dilemma we are having. That is in, excellence, academic excellence, and also to develop our moral rectitude so that we can achieve excellence there. So one other thing I want to add, because that is a method that works. If anybody, a non-active AMSA member, who thinks like campus life is all he or she has, he wants to live the life so that he doesn't have anything to regret. Fine, this is what is at the back of these people's mind. They just want to live the life and enjoy themselves while they still can. But the thing is, you as a person who is not living that life, and you have you have excelled in your studies, it is something that they will want to emulate, because every human being, however crazy you can be, there are times that you use for your self-reflection. Something tells you within you that, guy, what you're doing is wrong. Girl, what you're doing is wrong. There is a need for me to rethink. So at this time that every individual has, they will see these things, and at the end of the day, they can emulate it. Now, I want to add 2 things to that. One is this: I wouldn't know if it is possible from the national level, we can have a drive, a Tabligh drive. How do I mean? Whereby from each unit of AMSA or state or whatever it is, okay, it can be done unit-based. Members, the president will look inward and see, okay, how many active members do we have? How many are non-active members of AMSA we have, then each of the active members will be started with the responsibility of working on another person. They can start with one, okay, like one or two. An active member of AMSA will be started with the responsibility of bringing two non-active members back into the fold, working with them. And there is a need for them to adopt a workable means, a means that is, what they don't realize a bit of Rabbika bil Hikmah. They use wisdom. If you're trying to work on people that are already immersed themselves in, crazy attitudes and all that, there is a need for you to be very, very calm. If you want to catch a monkey, there is a need for you to behave like a monkey yourself. So we can have that drive whereby people will be starting the responsibility of gaining a member into the fold. Wherever it is they go, you try to bring them. When there is a program, you bring them, you just work with them, you move with them, you try to correct them. So that is one thing. Then the last thing I want to mention is this. Whatever it is we want to do, we should never forget one of the sayings of Prophet Messiah, wherein it says, whether you want to do good or want to do bad, only one person makes it possible for you to do, and that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I keep saying it, is a community of Prophet Messiah. Allah will not desire that we go astray. It is not possible. But of course, we need to work towards that and pray fervently. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for each and every one of us. Because after this, when we can have our members back, when we can have them back, when we have them behaving well, when we have them active in the activities of Jamaat, then it will be very, very easy for us to call people from outside, because there are two ways to Tabligh. In my own understanding, we have the voice Tabligh and the silence one. The voice one is where we have to interact with people. You call them, you exchange dialogue and all that. The silent one is what we do. Just like Dr. Sani said, someone who left, who doesn't sleep with ladies, all because he saw him not doing the same thing. So that's a silent one. So, and the more members we have to carry out this Tabligh, the better it becomes for us. And that is why we need to work on our members that are non-active. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for each and every one of us. Jazakumullah khair.
Jazakumullah khairan. Dr. Saab, I want us to give us any idea on how our members can go about Tabligh within their institution, then give us your parting words too.
Yes, Jazakumullah khairan and Jazak. In addition to what has been said by Hafiz Saeed, I will add that this is a digital world and we're in digital age. And a lot of people hold phones these days. And in their phone, on Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Twitter, a lot of people do a lot of activities, or they read a lot of activities. On WhatsApp too, our statuses and all that. I think those of us who are very active and who are social media gurus can begin to post things that will be educative to our people. It may not be videos, it may not be sermon, it may just be quotes. I know that in those days, if I check the WhatsApp status of some AMSA member, I will see quotes. Those quotes will inspire something in you, either remind you of what you have been doing to do better, or remind you of something that you have forgotten. So those things can actually go a long way. We may not know that we are doing Tabligh, but we're actually doing Tabligh because what I've seen is that everybody goes on the social media every day. And your contact on the social media, your friends, or the people whom you see their posts may actually influence the kind of life that you use. So let's have a team, or for those of us who are IT compliance and who are very vast in operating those things, should endeavor to post one or two things on their statuses, on their pages, so that people can see it. Maybe messages, maybe pictures of words that will drive home some information into people, and gradually we may begin to change. It may not even be quote of the Holy Quran, it may just be the word of the Prophet Messiah talking about morality, or the word of the Caliph. We may not even say it's the Prophet Messiah that says so. We may just post those information and people will see it. If you post, for example, let every morning see that you went through your night with the fear of Allah, and every night reminds you that you went through your day with the. And if anybody reads that, forget about the fact it's a quote of the Prophet. You also know that God, I should be self-appraising myself. Even Christian, we see that okay, it's good to self-appraise. This one is talking about self-appraisement. So gradually we begin to build morality, good behavior in people's lives. So that's what I would think we can add to our propagation, our Tabligh among students this day because every student holds phone, and wherever they are, they can see our messages on the social media. I also want to add as my parting word that AMSA is doing well. AMSA has been improving over time, and we should continue to imbibe in this spirit. Somebody said something about 3 weeks ago. He said the likes of Alhaji Meshanu, Alhaji Sumonu, Hussein, Alhaji Sumonu, Azan, Professor Giwa. He mentioned a lot of people. Eo Absalam also. He said somebody converted all of them. And that was Mofi Agbola. Converted almost all those people when they were students. Even Professor Fashola was also among those people he mentioned. That Mofi Agbola Sahi converted almost all those people when they were in school into the Jamaat. And let's see how much they have contributed to Ahmadiyya in Nigeria today. If we talk about the pillar of Ahmadiyya in Nigeria today, we'll continue to mention their name. That shows that getting people in school, targeting students who may grow to become doctors, lawyers, great people in future is a very important thing to the growth and the success of our Jamaat. That shows that AMSA is very important in the progress and the tomorrow of Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat Nigeria. Therefore, let us do everything possible to continue to impact in the life of students who are Ahmadi so that they can active. Let's continue to impact in the life of students who are not Ahmadi so that they can join the Jamaat. Even in the life of Christians who may convert to Ahmadiyya. And with this, we can be sure that we are planning a greater tomorrow for Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat. And may Almighty Allah help us in achieving this. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khairan to our panelists. Once again, we have the opportunity of having Dr. Taufik Sani as one of our panelists. He was a former president of AMSA Nigeria, a former seller of Maitula Ahmadiyya, and also, I guess, one of the national Mishnah secretaries. Then we have Ustaz Alaka Abdurrahim, who is also a former AMSA president. Our discussion has been on how we can take Tabligh in the institution further than we have done. I think one of the things that we need to take away is the fact that Tabligh is not limited to we arguing with non-Ahmadi Muslims, maybe Salafiyas, throwing tantrums and all those things. We can actually even start within ourselves, our members who are not active. Then we can also even move to even Christians, can talk to them about Islam and all those things. Then one of the things that we need to start with is building ourselves individually, how we need to improve our ta'lim, because someone that needs to preach to someone needs to first have that quality of what you want to go and discuss. You need to build yourself, read a lot of books, attend Jama programs, attend ta'lim programs, and all those things. Then we need to also show people that we are of high moral standard, because if you are saying something and you are doing otherwise, people will not want to associate themselves with you. But when they know that those things are regular things that students do, you don't do them, they want to come and associate themselves with you. Then we should improve in our writings. AMSA, journalist of the pen, we need to uphold that. We can engage in individual writing, pasting on notice boards wherever it is acceptable, because if it's not acceptable, we should not go against regulations of the school. Just like our keynote speaker has said, then you can always invite people, our friends, to Jamaat programs, especially maybe watching of UK Jalsa, doing international bayat. Invite them, let them come and see themselves. When they see all these things, they will want to ask questions. And from there, we can actually gain them into Jamaat. So all these things is something that we need to take note of. And one other thing that Hafid Abdurrahim said is that we can actually make use of is maybe at unit level, people who are active can be saddled with the responsibility of meeting, maybe one by one, matching them with people who are not active so that they can always move to them, invite them to programs and all those things. So these are ways whereby we can actually improve in our Tabligh. So let us make sure that all these are not just talk and talk. We should ensure that we make use of all these things. So Jazakumullah khairan once again to our panelists, and this is where I'm going to put a stop to our panel session. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah. Where are we?
You have guest remark next. Guest remarks, then vote of thanks. That's all.
Okay, very well. So please.
We have Vrakin to be here, and I'm not sure if AMSA president of UK is back. I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. Can we start with those available? Vrakin to be, please.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah khairan for the opportunity given. Well, I actually appreciated every submission by our scholars who have actually been giving us a very wonderful submission as regards this particular topic or our theme that we're actually discussing. Quite a lot of things. I'm also a worker in the Lagos State University, and I actually see a lot of things happening to our various Ahmadi fellows that are on campus. But I would just want to add this, that we actually need to have some kind of concentration centers where we meet. Quite a number of activities that was on campus now recently. We don't have a meeting point where people will meet to actually have some kind of discussions. A lot of regular meetings are no more going on. I could remember that every Thursday is the meeting. Do people even have that time to have for a meeting? There is no regular meeting. When you have regular meeting, even some of those people who are not active that you actually mix on campus that attend the meeting once they attend the meeting, and they actually see that that meeting is regular. Quite a lot of things, they will be bringing their friends to that particular forum to also participate in that kind of sitting. Then the issue of registration is very, very important. Quite a number of activities, we could not do on campus because, we are not working towards achieving, registration in campuses. There is need for, members of AMSA to work towards it. Then another thing is that we actually need to involve in politics of the school. You want to get buses for, members that will actually, take them to JASA, take them to some lot of places. We need to work towards that too. If you are not involving in politics, I could remember Dr. Sonny also involved in the activities of the student unionism thereabout there in Osu then. So what we are talking about is that we actually need to get involved in those things that we are talking about, aside from the moral conduct in which has actually been given to us and discussed. Then for us as Ahmadis, as we have actually said, there are some people that need to sacrifice. Some of those centers in which we are actually having, talking about if you actually have, for example, now like in Lasso, they're having a place where Igondo, where the female actually reside, likewise the male are also residing there. But I will also encourage them to also ensure that at any point in time, the president of that unit should also live there to actually manage things. Since they are not managing a lot of things, could crop up from that particular aspect if you are not working towards that. The other thing is that for Tabligh we are doing, there are some areas that I could remember in the past years, some in Osun State then, there are some even in Lanlate area where we actually go for Tabligh. I could remember in 1995 and some other place where we don't even have land and people actually give us land to actually build. The students also work towards, raising money to build mosque, to erect bamboo tree, to do some things. But in recent times, we are not actually seeing that because there are no people to actually sacrifice in that regard. Then lastly, what I would just say that we need to be writing letter regularly to His Holiness for guidance and for prayers. The leadership to see it as an example for us to do that. What Allah has actually told them is that Huzmin amwalihim sadaqatan. He has actually told him to take from us sacrifices to tahiruhum. It will purify us, wa tuzakihim biha. And we also save us from our sins and pray for them. Because it is in the prayer of Khalifa, inna salata kasakanu lahum. It is in the prayer of the Khalifa that we can actually have comfort of mind. Wala yubadilanna min ba'di khawfim amna. That will give peace of mind because it is only Allah that we are going to be worshiping. I actually, I'm very happy that we are using technology. We are using a lot of things, to actually work on the issue of developing the spirituality of members of AMSA. But let us also work towards actually visiting those units. Let us see what they're actually doing. Let them, show us their members. have the records of those people who are there. Let us have the addresses of those those areas we have institution, the name of the president of the Jamaica, the name of the missionary, how they can work along with them, having their phone number so that they can communicate them and know what exactly is going on with their children on campuses. I believe that, in addendum to what our respected scholars have actually said, by Allah's grace, we will surely, get, lights after the tunnel. May Allah continue to strengthen us on the path of righteousness. Jazakumullah khairan for the opportunity given. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We should have the state coed Kwara Ilako.
Yes, I call on State Coed Kwara Ilako, Shakurullah Abdul Salam, for his comments, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yes, jazakumullah khairan for the opportunity. I want to appreciate the AMSA National for this type of program, which centers on Tabligh. And as we know, Tabligh is an essential part of Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat worldwide, which we must definitely not take lightly, because it covers so many areas as Tabligh, Ta'lim, even rich Tanata activities, like we rightly highlighted from the discussions. A lot has been said. I just want to take back our mind to one of the points raised by one of our facilitators that we should make use of the social media as a tool for propagating the divine message of Islam and Ahmadiyya. That is essential. But for someone who wants to do that, we need to be very, very careful. And then, you shouldn't be someone that will post an unclad picture. They are posting a picture of Nicki Minaj, and the next thing we see is love for all, hatred for none, Ahmadiyya, the true Islam. That won't go well with the people viewing your status. And so many of us make use of, social media. Some people are even, they get glued to their phone at every minute. You see our brothers, even after saying their taslim, while finishing their salah, the first thing they touch, even before their tasbih, is their phone. But then you have never seen on their wall or their page in any of the platforms socially where they will propagate Islam al-Ahmadiyya. This should not be so. We may not have the opportunity of standing with our fellow human being, irrespective of their faith, Muslims, Christians alike, and discuss about Islam, especially Ahmadiyya with them. But through these social platforms, they should be able to know that we are Ahmadis. And all our programs should be able to, be being propagated in these aspects. I don't want to believe anybody will be here without posting anything that has to do with our last, annual international convention, Justice in the UK, on our WhatsApp status, the minimum. These are areas Allah the Almighty has made this technology possible for us to propagate the message of Hazrat Imam Mahdi alayhi salatu wasalam. So we need to try as much as possible to make use of these things at all times. It is essential. And then we also need to what? To change our ways. From the theme, they say we want to, how we can drive Tabligh, spreading the divine message on campus. It means somebody that wants to drive a divine message, the person himself must be what? Must be divine. We need to change ourselves outwardly and inwardly. And one of those things that we actually come up with in this seminar, I would say, is the fact that there is need for us to, we, this coming generation, we have understand that there is gap between the morality of those in the 90s and we at this period. We need to work on it. It is essential. And only which means we need to start early. The tarbiyah of our children start at early age. We shouldn't compromise that. I could remember there was a time a brother saw my girl of
less than 2 years on hijab, and it was like, wala yẹn ṣe wá pọ̀ báyìí. He's an Ahmadi, of course. Ọmọ ọdún méjì náà lẹ ń lò jab fún lórí báyìí, kí ló dé ẹ yọ jab lórí ẹ mọ́ ní ẹ̀gbọ́n alábàjọ tí fìlà gan ò ṣe mẹ́yìn lára, and because he is not always on cap, of course. So now we, like 5-6 years later now, we are having a discussion, and he was complaining about his daughter to me, because of those things they are seeing in him, and he's unable to instill those lessons on them, is not affecting them. So we shouldn't compromise at any point in time. We should try as much as possible to maintain that standard always. It is our responsibility. It is our responsibility. As a would-be father or would-be mother, it should be at the back of our mind that we want to raise a pious child that will be useful for Jamaat al-Ahmadiyya. That is what you should do. And the last time when AMSA Kwara State was having that program, I told them that, you are here participating. There are others at home doing nothing. And at the same time, the AMSA female side too, they are having their own program. Those ladies are there. And these are the ladies that when the Jamaat asks them to, okay, we need your attention now, you should come to the mosque, come and wash the plates, to come and clean the mosque, to come and clean the toilets. They won't hesitate to come. When you call them once, they answer twice. And the male side, you two, you are here. Others are some places that we don't know. But you will never see these sisters to marry to, because you feel physically they are not tantalizing to you. And what they do is that those that are not even at the program, those are the ones you are following up and down. We shouldn't get that wrong, because as a practicing Ahmadi, you attend program, you pay your chanda, you pay all those things. The next thing you should go for is also a practicing Ahmadi, not someone that you feel, okay, at the end of the time, I can change or try as much as possible to preach to her for her to change my taste. It's not always easy that way. And Dr. Sonny has rightly mentioned that everybody should go for their level. Don't, because of one physical thing or the other, will make you to fall short of the kind of person you are yourself. So that is also essential. Let us take Tabligh serious. And this is one of the areas which AMSA Nigeria has actually been thriving. And as such, we shouldn't relent our efforts. We should always try as much as possible to engage people at all times. We shouldn't keep out that at every point in time, we should let people know that we are Ahmadis. We shouldn't shy away from that fact. It is essential. And this will always keep us going. When you tell people you're an Ahmadi, you would always want to, behave uprightly. You wouldn't want them to find you wanting in any moral activities. That is when you try as much as possible to tighten up in your moral activities. Do not engage in whatever is the negative side of what Islam has warned us against. So may Almighty Allah assist each and every one of us, and may Allah not make this one the last program we'll have on earth, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan for the opportunity. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
If we, in the absence of further guests, do we take the next item, please?
Vote of thanks.
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.
Wasn't Larkato, please go ahead.
So the success of this program owes its brilliance to each and every one of us for our active participation. So on behalf of AMSA, I express our heartfelt appreciation to everyone. Your presence, wisdom, and engagement have made this event an extraordinary success. To our esteemed chairman, speakers, and panelists, your insights have ignited our minds, and your contributions have been very invaluable to us. And to our audience, your active participation has been inspiring. We hope that we would see this kind of a turnout and a more beautiful turnout in our next event as we unveil them to us. And a special note of gratitude to the families of our panelists who, despite personal loss, joined us today. Your strength moves us deeply. And lastly, to our organizers, volunteers, and supporters, your dedication has been the cornerstone of this event. As we depart, let us carry the essence of this gathering, that is, the step-by-step approach to spread the divine message into our lives. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make this program a source of benefit and blessing to every one of us in this life and hereafter. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullahu khairan.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh. So we've had a vote of thanks, and I think it should be a closing prayer that will be next, all right?
Definitely, sir.
Okay. Can you join me in closing prayers, please? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Amen. Summa amen. Jazakumullah khairan. Asana jazak.
Barakallahu fi.